Alright, this video is about making my wife's golf cart solar powered, and it's sponsored by EnjoyBot battery company, and they provided the battery and charger for this video. Now, if you watched my previous video about the golf cart, I converted it to lithium and I went with a LiTime battery to start. And I wasn't really happy with the app on that battery and how it works. So this is a new battery I'm going to try, and we'll see how everything works out here. And these are some of the tools and things that I needed to do the conversion. And there's a controller and monitor that I'm going to be using for the other battery because the app on it really stinks. So let's get this going. I had some of that 2020 aluminum extrusion around I'm going to use, and this is what the battery looks like. Basically all these are the same size, and this one does have a low temperature cutoff protection. I can't check it until it gets cold out, but there's the size of it and the specs on it. It comes with all the hardware for connecting it to the golf cart, and it's fairly heavy. It weighs, I think, about 65-70 pounds, something like that. And it is a 100 amp hour 48 volt battery. There's some of the specs on it. I'll put a link to the website that you can go in there and find out more about it if you're interested in this. And the thing about this battery is it has an amazing app. It's not like the LiTime battery. This one does not require a login, a sign in, setting up an account, and internet to be tracked by. This one runs on its own, and same controls, but it's got a little bit better monitoring of the battery on it, and you can pretty much see exactly what's going on, the cell balance and everything else. I'm really impressed by how this app works, and it doesn't track you and stuff like that. So I'm going to say if you're going to do a conversion, this is really a good battery to go with. And there's a charger I had them supply, and that's going to be good in the off season during the winter to charge it every once in a while and to do a pre-charge on it. Now I'm just connecting. I bought a boost controller. I originally was going to try 3 solar panels and try to get to the 60 volts required for the charging, but I didn't like the size of them, so I decided to try this Renogy boost controller. I'll take a lower voltage and boost it up to the voltage required for charging a 48 volt battery. So I just made up some cables here to play with and just make sure everything works before I start the switch over. And there's where the solar power goes in. I had to add those cables to it, and I bought 300 watt 20 volt solar panels originally to use, but I'm testing now to see if I can get away with 2 panels and this boost controller. The first thing I'm going to do is mount the 2 panels together. I had some of this 2020 aluminum extrusion around that I'm going to use. I have 2 pieces that are 4 foot long, and I figured that would be an easy way to make this a sub-assembly that's fairly rigid and can be put on the roof. And I put some nuts and bolts in there, M5 screws. The heads of them fit right in this channel, and I put the nuts down the other way so I could tighten them. Kind of tight to get in there and get it all together, but this is what I did. And I put some lock washers on it and just tightened it up with a wrench under there. And there's our new little girl there. We adopted her about a week ago, and she's really smart, pretty amazing, keeping us on her toes, so we're really enjoying her now. Wife's out taking her for a walk. She just loves to get out and walk around. Anyhow, back to this. I bought some Y connectors, and I'm going to plug the 2 positives together and the 2 negatives together. I'm going for 20 volts at 200 watts. I could plug them the other way, and I could go for 40 volts at 100 watts, but that's just not enough to charge. It's better going this way, I think, for using the boost controller. So I just set them up, and I put them up there, up on the rack there, just facing the sun, and just make sure this is going to work before I get it all installed. And I am getting almost 22 volts out of it at about 160 watts. So, and everything looked like it was going to work. The controller was outputting to the battery and looked good. So I'm going to just throw them up on top. Now, I did put this rack up here on the golf cart a while ago. And it's kind of useless because it makes the cart very top heavy when you put anything heavy up there. So these solar panels, I figure, will mount up there. And by going with just two of them, you can see it's kind of like a perfect fit. They don't hang over much. And then I'm going to try, I've got some number 10 gauge solar wire that I'm going to feed down through the rain gutter there so it's not hanging out and you don't see it. That took a while to get in there, but I did get that in there, get that plugged, and you can see the just perfect size for the rack so the panels don't even look bad up there. And that way the wires are all out of the way. And here's that LiTime battery I'm getting ready to take out. You can see it always wants to log on. It logs you out every once in a while. And it needs internet and it tracks you with your location and everything constantly. So I didn't really like that. That kind of turned me off to the battery. And I guess I'd stay away from the LiTime batteries after experiencing that. Where this battery just, the app works fine. No login, no nothing. So I'm happy with it. So I'm just swapping them out, and you can see this battery fits in there, same location. I screwed that little boost charger over there on the boost controller on the wall there, and some short cables going over to hook it to the battery. And here's the two solar connectors that I put on it. I'll show you how to crimp them in a second. And everything's pretty much charged up or hooked up and ready to go. But a couple more things before I can turn it on. I've got to get everything hooked up. So here's those solar wires coming from the panel, and you want to make sure that you use pure copper wire on this. Some of these cheap wires are aluminum that's copper coated, and they really stink. Don't bother buying them. Make sure you get pure copper. And you can see I did put a circuit breaker in between the controller and the battery just to protect it should there be a short or something. And this is the number 10 copper wire from the solar panels that I use, and I'm going to just strip it back enough for the connectors. And these solar panel connectors are really cool. You just they've got a seal that screws on the end, so you take that off, slide it on the cable first. And then there's a seal piece that goes in there. Make sure you don't get any wires out of position. And then they just fit in the terminal there, and you have to crimp it. Now, I did buy a set of crimpers along with a bunch of these connectors that I've been using because I've got a big solar job coming up pretty soon. I'm going to be doing a project. And pretty simple, you just put them in there. Put the tabs facing up towards the round pieces on the die. Squeeze it, and every time you got a perfect crimp. Really nice, tight, perfect crimp, and then it just slides together. And you have to make sure, that you put the right male and female connector on them to make everything go together and be keyed, but they work good, and then you just tighten this nut up. Now there's a rubber seal in there, so these are actually weatherproof. You can see a little O-ring on the end and the seal in there. And then the kit came with a couple of little wrenches. I'll put a link to this kit because it really does work good. I've been happy with it. I've done a bunch of these connectors now, and it's working good. And I'll be, doing a whole bunch of them in the future because I plan on making a big solar backup generator. And then we're going to do the other wire, exact same thing, just the the opposite. You just male and female connectors. You key them so you can't misplug them. And then let's just start this app up here, and everything's ready to go. You can see now I can turn the battery on. I've got everything connected to it on the battery side. And it says turn on the controller using the battery before plugging the solar power in. So that's what I'm doing. So at this point, that's pretty much all the wiring that I'm going to do. It's all done, hooked up to solar panels, and well, the battery's at 100% right now, so I've got to run it around the yard a little bit so things will start charging. You can see there's no amps going into it. And then here's the other app, the Energy app for monitoring. And let's pick a device. But trouble is I forgot to plug the Bluetooth in. So let me go back and plug the Bluetooth in so it shows up when you open the app here. And now this is another app that actually works good without a account and logging in and stuff. And there you can see that circuit breaker I've got in line there, and everything's wired up, and that's it, all ready to go. Couple tire wraps and cut them off, and get things cleaned up a little bit. I still have a couple more tie wraps to put in there, but you can see everything's hooked up, and I'm going to turn the golf cart switch back on. Uh-oh. Camera went wacko on me for some reason. It started flipping back and forth, and I don't know. I have a hard time figuring these new things out anymore, but I did get it back to normal. I hit the wrong button on it, and there's my helper again. She proves everything, so it looks like we're ready to run on the sun. So there's right now, sun's not really perfectly up in the sky, but I'm getting 160 watts out of the panel, 18.6 volts, and getting about 3 amps into the battery. You can see 2.67 amps going in now. It varies with the sun, but it looks like I'm getting between 2 and 4 amps into the battery, so I think that'll be plenty to keep it charged. And once it comes up to full battery, you can see it cuts off the current to it. And I did mount it with a couple of conduit clamps into that 2020 bracket, front and back, so it's all mounted solid and really basically ready to go for a quick little ride here. Really came out nice, I think, and I'm going to put a couple of LEDs on the front and back of those extrusions to hide them. But anyhow, we're running on the sun now, and it looks like it's going to work. So let's take a little ride around. I can't really go on the road. It's illegal in New York where I live. Don't ask me why, but I'm going to go around the yard, and that's what we normally do. So one thing I did notice with these, lithium battery conversions is this thing is fast. It's actually faster than my RTV now. We didn't really do anything other than just switch the batteries. So one of the biggest problems that I've heard is when you're going down a hill with the regeneration, when you got a full battery, you can have a problem. But I did not see any. Here I'm going down that big hill in my backyard. This is pretty muddy down here, though. I'm just starting to be able to mow it and stuff, and the ground is very soft, making it hard for the golf cart. Really tough on it. You can see the tires sink right into the soft stuff, but we're just going to take a ride around down here and just see how much battery it actually uses. And you can see I've still got a lot of cleaning up to do. I've just been able to get down here and start mowing. We've had so much rain this spring. This is just a swamp normally, So now that it's dried up, I'll get out the sickle bar and stuff like that and start doing some more cleanup. But I just wanted to take a worst case scenario ride around the yard, put about maybe a little over half mile on it, going around and down, and through some pretty muddy conditions and stuff that do put a good load on the cart. And then the biggest thing is, you see going back up this hill. Now with the lead acid batteries, we had problems. Halfway up, it would start blinking that little yellow light, and you'd have to stop and wait and then go again. This thing actually goes up faster than my RTV. Unbelievable. You can see the thing goes right up the hill now. So lithium batteries do seem to have more punch, and it doesn't just die on you. It just keeps going. And let's take a ride up here around the garden. Still going strong. You can see that's doing really good now. Things are in. Haven't really done much with it because I've been spending so much time with the puppy, but that's a lot of fun at least. And one more big swing around here. And I'm really impressed with this, just how fast the golf cart goes. You know, it did pick, I guess it lost weight that caused it to go a little bit faster and have better acceleration. But definitely it's great now. And I will tell you, now that I've been running this a couple of days, we've had no problems with charging it. The amount of use that we see, its battery pretty much stays at 100% charged all the time if you leave it in the sun a couple hours a day. So this really is going to be, you know, fully solar powered. It looks like it's going to work. Those two panels should work. You know, if we did 20-mile trips down the road, you might have to wait a day for it to charge up. But for our needs, this is amazing. And this battery, I really like the monitoring of it and how it works. And I'll show you in a second. After that trip around, the amazing part was, let's open this app up. Here we are. We only used 2% of the battery. It's 98% with the LiTime battery. One trip down to the garden and a little bit across the field and back, and we're at 98%. So I'm not sure what's going on here, but this battery seems to have a better load capability than the LiTime did. I mean, they're both good batteries, but I definitely would go with this one if you're going to do a conversion. You know, just looking at this app and stuff, and this is the controller app, charge controller, and the battery fits in there perfect. So I just wanted to, you know, just show you how easy it is to convert a golf cart over to solar. And it does cost a little bit up front, but it's fun to, you know, learn about this stuff. And it's also fun to not have to plug it in anymore and save some money on electricity. It's been saving us several dollars a month just using the lithium. So anyhow, I just want to thank EnjoyBot for providing an awesome battery for this video. And, you know, it's been a fun conversion, and I'll keep you updated on the results in the future. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.